What's up, YouTube Gen X? So I was talking to this random guy at the car wash a couple of days ago, and we were talking about the NBA lockout. He had like a old school Vlade Divac Lakers jersey on. I'm like, wow, this guy's a true fan, right? So we start talking about the Lakers and the lockout or whatever, and for me, the lockout, the potential of not having a season really hit home a couple of days ago for me when I understood the extent to what was going on with the owners in terms of who's not making money. See, I was under the assumption that a lot of the teams that are complaining were your teams that made poor choices. And those are the teams that are complaining, but it's the other group that's also complaining. You have teams that are supposedly under the salary cap, very competitive. They have good attendance, playoff teams, teams that you need, right? The league is entertaining if you have a whack-ass team. So teams that are competitive, that make games fun to watch, some of these teams are also not making money. And I was surprised at that. Teams like Portland and San Antonio that, have good ownership and they make financially savvy moves, and they have good attendance, not necessarily making a profit, which was crazy to me. And that even gets complicated, right? Because if you are a team, you're getting money from different avenues. So in one stream, one arrangement, you may not be making money. You may be losing money, but overall, you're still making money. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if I'm not making money, my arena's not making money because I'm not selling enough jerseys, right? But I make up that with the TV deal that I have. So some of the players, or the player side, they're saying, well, hey, be open with this. You guys are saying you're losing money, but you guys have multiple revenue streams. So you may be losing money here, but overall, the organization may be making money, which is a valid point. But anyways, overall, I guess supposedly you have a lot of teams that are legit in terms of them saying, we're not making money, but yet we're doing everything properly. So there's something wrong here. We have to renegotiate. We're not one of those teams that signed a whole bunch of stupid-ass contracts and we don't know what's going on, right? Because like I said before, I don't even know if I told this to you guys, but I feel personally that over the last couple of years, I thought that the NBA, David Stern and, his group, I thought they did a poor job at allowing certain people to become owners. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to fuck it up. It is what it is. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know the game, you don't know how to properly negotiate, you're going to fuck things up. So I think that's part of the problem. But, obviously, we got something going on. If you have teams saying, yo, go over our books. Look at everything. We're competitive. Look at our attendance. It's pretty good. But, yeah, we ain't making any money. What's going on here? So when I understood that, I'm like, oh, okay. Now we may have a significant problem here. So I'm talking to the Vlade Divac guy at the car wash. And we both agree that, if the owners do revenue sharing, that would help out. Because obviously you have certain teams that make more money just because. Not even teams, when they went over, what was it, like the 8 teams that were making money, I was surprised because you had some teams that were whatevers making money, right? So I definitely feel like you need revenue sharing. Obviously, one would say, well, how do you feel that way? If a team is whack and they're making poor choices, of course they're going to suck and they're not going to make any money. I get that, but if you have teams that are competitive that aren't making money, you have to help them out. You need good teams to be good. You can't afford to have whack teams because that's going to fuck up everybody's money. So if you have good teams that are in trouble, if you are a team that's making money because you're good or whatever, hey, you got to figure out what's going on. You have to step in. So I do believe that revenue sharing is needed, even though it may help teams that do a piss-poor job in terms of management and ownership. And coming from the Laker fan perspective, where, hey, we're good. Why should we share money? You know, we do things properly, but it's needed. You know, I guess supposedly we have some deal worth $5 billion or $3 to $5 billion with Time Warner Cable. You know, yeah, you know, you got to share that around as opposed to teams, well, I think it was like the Sacramento Kings that they only make like $11 million a year from whatever TV contract that they have. And I'm like, damn, that's pretty, you know, that's piss poor. But, you know, you got the Lakers signing, you know, a $5 billion TV contract over the next couple of years. So, yeah, I do think that revenue sharing would help. But here's the fucking problem. The owners don't want to work on revenue sharing until they work a deal out with the players. And the players are saying, fuck all that. The money that you're saying you're losing, you can get back with revenue sharing. So how come you're not working on that deal as well? No one is saying that we don't need to negotiate. But if you have other ways of making money, why are you waiting for us to make a deal? And this is where the owners get, you know, and I think this is where the real problem is at. Because the owners are trying to say, we want to work out a deal with you guys that will pretty much guarantee that we're going to make money, which I will get to in a second. And then after that, we want to talk about revenue sharing that will pretty much automatically help certain teams make money, or at least the teams that are losing money. And the players are saying, well, that's overkill. You should be going over all options. If you're losing money, go over all the ways that you can make money. Don't do the sort of, well, we have to work it out with you first. No. Get that shit together first. Right? But at the end of the day, you know, in terms of the whole concept of having a new collective bargaining agreement that would allow teams to make money, what annoys me is that if you are whack and you don't have a good product, you're not going to make money. See, the owners are looking for this sort of foolproof sort of guarantee that they will make money, and to me, that's fucking bullshit. If you have a whack squad, you make bad deals, you're not competitive, you're not going to make money. People don't want to see you. People don't want to come to the games. People don't want to buy your jersey. It is what it is. You're just not going to make money. So to think that you can work out some deal that's going to guarantee that you're going to make money or make it almost impossible for you to lose money, I think that's bullshit. To be real with you, that's bullshit. It's sports, and this goes back to what I said before about David Stern not doing and the other NBA execs and not necessarily doing a good job at who they're allowing to be owners. Don't just allow anybody to be an owner because you may not know where their head is at. You have to protect the integrity of your league. Because you got a lot of owners that are coming through, I want to win now. You know, a couple of years ago, New Jersey got that sort of Russian billionaire. Like, you have a lot of people, do you even know what's going on? You want to throw out money, I want to win right away, I want to buy a championship. So they start paying players that are whack as fuck. They don't win. They don't make money. People don't want to come to games. But they still got to pay them. We got guaranteed contracts. You still got to pay the motherfucker. You know, it is what it is. So my problem is that, you know, David Stern and his group, y'all didn't account for that. They're not going to make money. You can't sit here and tell me we have to come up with some sort of arrangement so, you know, some jerk-off or some dumbass organization that doesn't know what the fuck they are doing can make money. But I do agree that you have a lot of players that are being overpaid. You have a lot of players that are getting paid not based off of their talent. They're getting paid off of stupid GMs. That's what they're, you know, GMs that didn't know what they were doing and owners that didn't know what they were doing either. So that kind of set the bar for whackness. So I do think on the player side, they have to check their ego because a lot of motherfuckers aren't worth the money that you're making. You have so many fucking players that your average, only your advanced NBA supporter would know some of these guys. Real talk. Only your advanced NBA people would know these guys. So your average fan wouldn't even, they could walk past them on the street and they would say, that's a tall black guy. Or that's a tall white guy. Right? Or that's a tall foreigner. You wouldn't even know who they are. And you have a lot of these guys that are making $7, $8, $9 million. You know, like making all sorts of stupid money. Like, why are you making so much money? We got Luke Walton that doesn't even play. making like $7 million, making more money than Ron Artest. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Craziness. So that has to go away. So in terms of, players getting too much money, I do agree. Sorry. You have a lot of players that are just fucking getting overpaid. Overpaid. But here's my problem. Who signed the contracts? Or who proposed the deals? Y'all did. You okayed it. You agreed to pay some mediocre player X amount of dollars for 4 or 5 years. You agreed to it. It is what it is. You made the poor mistake. See, and this is another layer that annoys me with the owners. The owners are saying that we're paying too much because the salary cap is too high. And that's a stupid argument because you can control. You don't have to reach the salary cap. If the salary cap, let's say, is $50 million, I don't have to use all $50 million. If I don't have players that are worth it, I may only use $20 million. So I'm $30 million under cap. So it really shouldn't matter if there's a salary cap or not. Pay a player what he's fucking worth. I don't care if my spending limit is fucking $1 billion. If you're only worth $5 million, I'm going to only pay you $5 million. But what the owners are saying is that we have to lower the overall salary cap because we can't control how we spend. So I don't know how to make a rational choice. So in order to help myself, I have to lower the salary cap. If you give me too much room, I'm going to fuck it up. Don't give me, $75 million to spend, because I'm going to spend it all, even though, I'm spending money on shit that's not really helping. So in order for me to protect myself, I have to lower it to $50 million. So even if when I do fuck up with that $50 million, at least it's not as bad. And that's like the rationale, in my opinion, which is stupid. There's no way around it. You have to do a better job at deciding who you want to pay. Because I hate the idea of lowering the salary cap. I really do hate it. Because it stops good teams from winning. You should be able to pay good players when you know you have a fucking good product. But the whole concept of lowering the salary cap is going to fuck it up. So teams that are close, teams that are there, that are going to win, they're not going to have the room to go off and get a player, a good role player, which is annoying to me. You just have to be educated in what you do. If you don't have a contending team, don't spend the fucking money. And if you do, spend the money. But don't take away the ability for teams to go off and win. No, everybody's happy about Dallas winning. Guess what? If you change up the whole salary cap, that shit ain't going to work. You know how much Dallas had the highest payroll? Lakers, prior 2 years, championships, high payroll. I think it's like the second in the league. Winning teams have high-ass payrolls because they're winning and they're at that level where they could be, winning multiple championships. So it's okay. Allow them to do so. But trust, when Kobe leaves or whenever there's that time where the Lakers aren't as good as what we used to be, it's going to go down. Obviously, we're not going to be, over the salary cap. Obviously, we won't be paying the luxury tax or whatever because, we're not necessarily contending. So we have to, play our position. So play your fucking position. That's all you have to do. To me, it's simple. See, the issue, once again, in my opinion, like I said before, you have teams that are doing what they have to do that are losing money. But I still think the major issue is that you just have new owners that don't know what the fuck is going on. Going back to me blaming David Stern and some other people or whatever. Who just want to make money. Like, it's not... Owning a sports team is different. You have to have a passion. And you guys, from my sports people, you know how it is, especially, when a lot of your, the NFL, MLB, NBA, you had a lot of those sort of billionaire millionaires who got their money doing other things, other shit. You know what I mean? He sold oil, or he, had some steel company, or, he made this product or whatever. And for fun, they own a sports team, because they love the game and they own a sports team, so they know what they're doing. Right? David Stern didn't do all that. So you have a lot of people that are coming into it on some like, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to win now. It doesn't work like that in sports. Sports is very difficult. To be an owner of a sports team, it's very difficult. It's not like a business. But unfortunately, you have a lot of owners that want to come in and act like this should operate like a normal business would. It doesn't happen that way. Sports is weird. You have to have a passion for it. I mean, if it was up to me, all I would want in my ideal league, it would be a league where all the owners pretty much made their money doing other shit. So them owning the team, yeah, it's to make money, but it's also for like the love of the game. Because they know what's going on. They'll know what to do, as opposed to a lot of the new owners that, suck. They don't know what's going on. So it is what it is. The lockout is very funny. For me, to wrap it up, I think that they can reach an agreement when the players understand that a lot of them are being horribly overpaid, not even slightly overpaid, because I'm sure that the players are like, yo, we're getting slightly overpaid, but I'm like, nah, a lot of y'all are being grotesquely overpaid. So you have to give that shit back. And the owners have to understand that, listen, you're not going to have a system that works fully. If you're whack, you're whack. It is what it is. I still don't think we need 30 NBA teams, truth be told, right? But if you're whack, you're whack. You're not going to make money. I only care about, like I said, the teams that are doing what they have to do, competitive, win games, makes watching NBA games fun. I'm concerned about them not making money. So I think, a deal can be reached, right? But we have to see. I just think the part that's scary is that the owners don't want to accept their fuck-ups, and the players don't want to accept the fact that so many of them are overpaid. But from a fan standpoint, which is a different, viewpoint altogether, and this is how we ended the conversation, because at this point, Mark's car was already done, his car was done. He had a 745 Li, 22s. So he was getting his shit detailed. I just got the regular wash or whatever. Wash my shit, please. But he got the full detail. They pull his shit under the shade. My shit's just out in the open. His is under the shade. They're buffing it. But we're talking. And we ended with the sort of, from the player standpoint, what would work best. And for me, from a player standpoint, I would do away with guaranteed contracts to begin with. I'm not a player. If you look at why the NFL is so good, it's good because they don't have guaranteed contracts. So you have to play your fucking ass off. And everybody knows, hey, I have the opportunity. Just because that's some big name guy, who's there, if he fucks up, his shit ain't guaranteed, I can come through and do that shit. So I could be a no-name. Give me the opportunity and I'm good. That's what makes the NFL great. How many top players in the NFL that we know, were the overall number one draft pick and everybody knew who they were in college? No, a lot of the times it's some dude 6th-round pick from some school you never fucking heard of. 7th-round pick from Alabama, not even Alabama. That's a big-time school, right? 8th-round pick from North Carolina. Some linebacker. Gary Johnson from Purdue University in the 5th round, and he's, kicking ass and doing well. He got the opportunity. There's no guaranteed contracts for the most part. And to me, I think the NBA should go back to that. Obviously, that doesn't, players don't like it, but I'm not a fucking player. I want to see good games. And if you're whack, a team shouldn't be obligated to keep you around. That's just how I fucking feel. You'll be okay. Because as much as the NFL is cutthroat, I get all that, but you'll still be okay. Right? You still get, if you're a decent player, you'll get your signing bonus, and some of your contract is guaranteed. Not all of it, but some of it. So let's say you signed a $1 billion contract. Are you going to get $1 billion? No, because they can release you. They can put different clauses in your contract, but a portion of that will be guaranteed. So let's say, $100 million would be guaranteed. So at least you're going to get that. And I think we should go to that. NBA players have the best deal. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of NBA players have the best. When it comes to contracts, some say that, we have the best deal, and I tend to agree. You got whack players like Adam Morrison, Adam fucking Morrison, who will never play in the NBA again, who is a multi-millionaire. Adam Morrison is out of the league now. I think he's out of the league. And his bank account probably has anywhere from 17 to 20 fucking $million in it, and he's whack. Most of y'all don't even know who the fuck Adam Morrison is. That's how bad NBA contracts are. Whack players getting paid because shit is guaranteed. So that's how we ended the conversation. So I want to know how you guys feel, for those that do care at least, because, I love NBA. And I'm going to be pissed if we don't have a season. I don't even want half of the year. I don't want that shit, because who wants to win the Astro Championship? We all know what happened with San Antonio. How many championships does San Antonio have? 3 or 4. I don't count the first one. I don't want to be that team that wins that. Fuck all that, right? We're having a full season or no season at all. Let me know how y'all feel. Take it easy. God bless.